All right, welcome to our new video, our latest segment in this massive game. Here you go. Here's my finger. Yeah, so it's definitely a big coat, big footprint. It goes on and on, even up over there for your orders of battle. But we're in our second hour of the game, second hour of the battle. And it is going the French way. They've just won a nice little victory over here on the left flank. Here are the units that have been eliminated so far. Now, this isn't really all the casualties, because French took about 1,000 casualties in the opening artillery salvo from the French, or from the Russians. And but they didn't have no units that were totally eliminated. These are the units that have been eliminated, so you can see it's a little on the lopsided side. These are all from the, you see, MAR, Markov Division. They have been hammered by the French in this town, and I don't even know. Let's see here. I have no idea what town that is. Some of it's hidden. I think it's SCHOD. Yeah, he's got a couple battalions full strength still in there, but most of them had headed east towards friendly lines. They've turned around, but yeah, they've regrouped well away from the battle. No Markov himself and his units are on their way too. Cavalry Reserve 4th Corps, the ones that did the damage, but they're done for this hour. They cannot move again, so the Russians can use that to their advantage. They are pooped. All the units that charged are flipped over to the tired side. Alright, now it ain't all Markov's fault. Let's look over here. The big generals, the leaders, Napoleon and Bennigsen, are all over here on the right flank. And for some reason, they chose the wrong place to be, because all the action's going over here on the left flank, and therefore, because they're so far away from the action, especially the Russians, he had to have his units take the initiative themselves, and the Russians failed. That's why Markov suffered. There was no response. Now this unit here was able to, he's the only one that passed the initiative test, the 7th Division, but they didn't get there in time. This unit here is still under hold orders. He won't do that without orders from the boss, and a lot of them likewise. So, as a matter of just the way, I guess the designers wanted it to be historically, the French got to jump on them again, even though the Russians have undertaken military reforms. I think by that time they still didn't catch up, and the Russians and the French still got to jump on them. So through logistics and administrative elements, they were able to get a jump and hammer the Markov Division, which is almost no more. Alright, you're up to date. We're ready for our, another thing is, that was only the first activation. So we got 2 more for the French. Don't have to keep on pulling, so it can get a lot worse. The action, I think, will still stay here, because if the Russians pull their cube, they can crash into the rear of the 2nd Division. If it's a blue cube, the 2nd Division, they'll definitely about face, although they still these boys here, so they're kind of between it. Interesting, to say the least. Having a great time with this battle. Like I said, this is only the 2nd hour. Alright, let's give it a little shake. We're doing this a little bit of late night gaming. And it's going to be an early day tomorrow, so we might not get too much done, but we will do it segment by segment, day by day, week by week, and probably month by month on this game. So let's see what's up. Alright, we got us a cube. Is it the fire? Russians or French? Odds are it should still be French. Oh, the Russians come back. There you go. we'll look this over, but I think we know who's going to be activated. And he is in mode. Let's make sure. Let's see what mode he is in. All right, here you go. He's on it in attack mode, but he has been activated twice. So his activation will be, oh, can't get over the light. Infantry, I think that's all he's got is infantry, no cavalry amongst them, and artillery. So infantry and artillery will move with a 2-point, yeah, 2 movement point penalty. We'll be back. All right, well, it costs the Russian side and the Prussians 2 movement points to move adjacent. There you go, working with a 2-point penalty. We'll give them enough. Yeah, they're planning to move next to them, but let's see what they want to do. Oh, we have this old boy stationed ready to go, so might be a limit on what we can do. We might not activate the 7th, although I think we're going to want some payback for what just happened to the Markov division. These units here are under hold order. They can only move 1 hex. I don't think these boys can move any at all. They're under hold. They're under defend. We'll see what's up. What does Bennington have in mind? He's had some bad news about his right flank. 1 division down. Markov got the short end of the stick when it came to versus the cavalry reserve and the 2nd division, but the 2nd division really didn't do that but block. It was the old Joseph, who's the man of the hour. We'll be back. We'll start off this video with approximately, I'd say, 22 minutes into the 2nd hour of the Battle of Eylau and our little alternative history battle recreation. Oh, and we are over here where all the fighting's happening. And I think that it is, yeah, let me see. The 4th Corps Cavalry Reserve of the French have used up all their activations. They're done for this hour. And the Russian 7th Division is also done with this hour. They've had their maximum 3 activations within 22 minutes. So 22 minutes was mostly all about these units here. There you go. Remember the ones that have been activated. It was the 2nd Division. They've only been activated once. 5th Division activated twice. That's how they got down there. They also have units here facing the French. So here's the line now. Kudos to the 7th Russian Division. They definitely cleared it out. There were French units here, but they all hightailed it on back all the way to here. And there were some artillery units that were eliminated. So yeah, they definitely got themselves some back and changed the situation on the Russian right flank. All right, there's the other units on the far flank that reactivated. Them are French. So we still have more reinforcements that come on. So it's time for the cube draw. We were done with that. I think we had everything done. Let me see. Did we have to check and see if somebody bailed? I'll have to look back on that. Let me see this real quick. We're good. Stand checks have all been taken care of. There was a unit right here. He boogied long. He bailed wildly. All right. So it's time for our next cube draw. The Russians have been keeping it up. Now we have 2 fire cubes in this grand campaign or grand battle game. We only used 1 in our skirmish mode earlier for Battle of Night Quarters. We had, as far as cubes in the bag, French have about 16. I think the Russians have 8, if I'm not mistaken. That might be 19 to 9 or something like that. But let's see what goes on here. Big old bunch. Make sure hand goes in. Nothing in my hands. And we got a cube. Let's make this quick, and it should be French. Oh, Russians come back! Wow. Well, the only bad thing about that is when it turns into a... Well, number one, once they're out of cubes, then it's all done. So the Russians actually wanted to be drawing all their cubes, because once they're at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They got about 3 more in there, and if they draw all 3, it's done with, and all the French cubes are wasted. So that is the best thing that could happen for the Russians. Let me see what we want to do. The 7th is done. Ooh, could it be? Ooh, 5th division time. Or there's little Bennington. Want to get stuff going elsewhere. We'll be right back with the, Russian general. His decision. Be right back. Then cube candidates are. Oh, we got our markers out here. Zoom on out. There you go. 2nd Russian Division are under strategic move orders, so they can really get going. We would head them this way to assist in our battle here. We also have our 5th Division. And 5th Division here, we really wouldn't move that much, but we have the other half over here. And you can start pressing the issue with what we got going on the Russian right flank. Or the 3rd candidate that my young Lieutenant Staff has pointed out would be the, I don't even have them marked, would be the left wing cavalry reserve. They're in a move order, so we can get them going and watch out for our flanks, because we don't like those victory point hexes being exposed. It looks like they might be heading straight for it. We'll see which way the leader leans. We'll be right back. Alright, well, he's presented with the school of thought, and that is that we ain't gonna get any more cubes for a while. We've what do they call that? Outdistance our coverage or something. Yeah, so yeah, we're in other words, we've gotten a little lucky. We're gonna take care of that with the left wing cavalry reserve and their first activation. Be back. Left wing cavalry reserve under von Valen gets its first activation. And here's what he did with his forces. Now we have to protect this town as much as possible. Well, we have him here, but mostly his spreaders units on out. Oh, where's the pointer when I need it? Not in my hand. Sorry about that. Alright, this is extreme right. He has deployed his. Oh, we have to look on that one. Dragoons. There's some dragoons there. Some lancers, I would imagine. Oh, heavy cavalry. Them are. Oh, let me see here. Cuirassiers with the chest plates, and on his far left, a bunch of Cossacks. Now this one here, we wanted to give him up on the hill, but he did not have enough movement points to face the right way, so he's got these hexes here covered. These hexes here all covered. Basically, we're all covered there, so anybody who wants to move in front of us, we can charge. That is how the Russians solidify their left flank. This decision of the Russian general to get involved with all the mayhem going here on his far right. Wanted to protect these valuable victory point hexes, which are about 5 or something apiece. Let's see here. I think I got the marker over the number, which probably ain't too smart, but there you go. It tells you how much there. But anyway, when we come back, it'll be cube draw time. No combats. As a matter of fact, when they're under the move order, they are prohibited from getting adjacent to the enemy. I think it was like 2 hexes away, which we qualify for. All right, there's it. We're ready to come back, and it should be, if the Russians get lucky, I think they're about 2 or 3 cubes away from finishing this hour. If it turns out to be all French, they can't do that. So, but if it goes the way if we play the laws of averages, it should be a French onslaught after this. Let's Draw a cube, and then we'll take a little break. Find out who it's going to be. Or is it going to be a fire cube, which the French are not ready for again this hour. They got hammered on that the first hour because the Russians are all unlimited with their artillery advantage. We have a cube. It will be the Russians again. You can't make this up. Wow. All right. Oh, man. Hold on a second. All right. So the Russians trying to turn the tide. We have a lot of, that was unexpected, so I'll have to see what's going on. What do we want to do? We have some other options that we're looking at earlier. I think we got that solidified. The second can move, or who else did we have? Oh, the fifth. All right, either this group of units or this group back here. Which one was it? It was the 2nd Division. I think they're under strategic move order. I mean, they can really get going and get involved in the fighting, which would be heading them down this valley, down this way. Solidifying. If the Russians can get it their way and get a few activations going, it won't be this hour because these boys here are all in hold and defend orders, which means they really can't move. But if they get some good attack orders, come around here and get some real payback against the French. All right, we'll be back. Find out what we're going to do with the cube. All right, the courier will be going to the Russian 2nd Division under strategic move order. There you go. They will move at 1.5 times their movement allowance. And they have to get in the column and everything. So a lot will be switching on through, but the 2nd Division, Russian 2nd Division, consists of all these units in mustard colored, we'll call it, here. But we also got a couple artillery units we have up here too also. So they will flip over to Limbard and we'll start moving. This will be the before for the 2nd Division. Alright, that'll be the after the 2nd Division's first activation. That's as far as the old boys have got. They were back around in here, so everybody got strategic move, gave them 1.5 movement point bonus. That's what they did with it. They're heading to the front. When we come back, it'll be a cube draw. We're going to take a little break. But, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have 3, 4, well, actually one more than the French. So, wow, I think they got it together. Somebody cracked the whip on their administrative logistics side. Oh, guard flipped. Not yet, not yet. Okay, so there you go. Get kind of crowded. Things going on this Napoleonic game. By sound of drums, the Battle of Eylau. We first started this game. We started the introductory scenario. It was around the anniversary, so it was around February when it was cold. Almost into July, so hey, can't say I don't get my money's worth out of the game. And it's entertainment value. Okay, we'll be back. All right, carrying on. Ready for our next cube draw. And I want to take a look at that bag because the Russians definitely are overachievers in the second hour of the battle. Outdrawing the French. Ooh, 7. Yeah, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 7 to 6 on the cubes. And we grab our bag. Take a sneak peek. I believe they only have 1 or 2 cubes left. Oh, okay, here you go. Here's what's left in the bag. Let me get this right here. See, I can get you a sneak peek. But there is only 1 Russian cube left. See that there? Let me see if I can get it open. Well, we could do it like this. Alright. There you go. Now in this game, if the Russians pick a next cube, and there ain't no other cubes left, it's the end of the hour. And the French forfeit all these activations. So, and if the French draw 3 cubes in a row, it's automatically a Russian cube draw. So, getting very interesting. And we might not have a fire cube yet drawn this hour. That's also a possibility. Last hour, the first hour of the battle, featured a Russian heavy artillery barrage. Took quite a few French casualties. So we're getting ready to pick another one of these cubes and put them in the bag. And yeah, that's about it. Let's see what else was there. Oh, we have a rule change. We've been watching all these units. Every time they retreat a hex, they lose 100 men. We're not too sure about that. So from now on, when you retreat, you're going to take a die. This is a Russian die. You're going to pick two numbers between 1 and 6. Then we're going to be your save numbers. And if you roll those two numbers, or if you roll anything besides those two numbers, let me see here. Say I pick a 1 and a 4. If a 1 and a 4 comes up, then I'll have to suffer a casualty. No casualties on that retreated hex. Next retreated hex. Ooh, there is a casualty, so there you go. That's what we're going to do. I kind of incorporate this rule in my Civil War game where you pick your save numbers or your destruction numbers or whatever it is. But yeah, I think that's better to give a little bit of a chance. I'm not too sure about the realism of every time they retreat losing 100 men if they're adjacent, so that's a lot of men. So we're going to be doing that rule from now on. Next, when we come back, picking another cube. We'll be right back. All right, before we draw up in the bag, we're rethinking that retreat rule. And I think I'll stick with the old way was 100% you lost 100 men. So we'll give you a little bit of a chance. We'll give you like I said earlier, we'll pick two save numbers. We'll give you a 20% chance that you survive it. So next time we retreat, or it's a mandatory retreat, instead of just willy-nilly knocking off 100 men. And they might have did their research. It might have been a massive casualties when you're retreating, but I don't think you'll be losing all that many. So we'll give them. You'll be able to pick your two, like I said earlier, save numbers, and if you roll those, you can retreat from that hex without casualties. All right, when we come back, we'll be picking our next cube. Find out who gets activated. All right, back with some rain day gaming. Expecting some storms, so I think we got the day off tomorrow, and I'm gonna take advantage. Got a bunch of stuff to do, but we're gonna get, as they say, while the getting's good, get ready for the next cube draw. Come on down here, and it should be a French onslaught. I don't know what the French are counting on, but the Russians have pulled a lot of surprises, so we'll see what's going on here. Bensington cracking the whip, getting his troops to move. We got a cube, and it be French. So the French are ready to answer back. They can have up to 3 activations before it is a Russian cube. So let's see what the old Napoleon wants to do. We'll be right back. All right, well, we're back here. It's morning time. Contemplated some moves last night. I think come down to 2 schools of thought, and that is looking at this cube. We want to bring in the reinforcements. We don't want them hanging on out there. If they we draw another green cube, then it'd be forfeit the rest of our activations. So we want to make sure we get them in. Now the thing of it is, where do we bring them in at? We got these victory hexes back here. They're not going to get this far at the most. As a matter of fact, when they come in, they're in strategic move order, which means they have to get 6 hexes or 5 hexes or 6 away from the nearest Russian unit, which means puts them right here. So if they come in down here, they might get here. That's if they got enough movement allowance. Another thing is, we got to deal with map information. I'm sure Napoleon didn't have to deal with that. So yeah, we bring them in that way. Or another school of thought, and that it would be to help turn this flank and to grab these victory point hexes and get behind the enemy. Or got a nice little road down here. Not that it helps, but they can come on straight through here and feed. And we're a little bit weak. I mean, not really. I mean, we got the guard and everything here. So we're more thinking about up here, more to the east than to the west. Can't really go anywhere here in the central part because there's units here, and it really restricts you to like this last hex. If you're in strategic movement, that's how far the enemy is, and you got to stay 5 hexes away from them. So that's what we're looking at. Got things to do today, and I don't know if you can hear the sound in the background. We having a bad back day. Had a bad couple days. Luckily, it's raining. Yeah, and I'm off work, but yeah, we got a couple muscle spasms. We gotta get broke up and rubbed out. So, all right, we got some running to do here this morning. Other than that, we're hoping to come back and get some time in on this game, and we will award a cube. That's what we got going on here. We'll be back. Alright, back with some Napoleonics to make sure everything's looking good. Had some lens cleaning issues, but I think we're ready to go. Okay, we're going to give this cube 2. It's been decided. We want to get these guys on the board, first division of the 3rd Corps, and we're going to bring them in up here, which means they're only probably going to get to the top of this hill, and that'll be about it. We got to remain 5 hexes away from this unit here. We'll be in strategic movement, which means we'll move their movement allowance plus 1.5 extra. We will, let me see here. I really liked coming up this hill, or up this road. It's too bad we ain't got more reinforcements. Because somehow I wanted to put pressure here, but this way here, we'll be putting pressure on this spot here by going getting it around their rear, maybe loosening up some troops to cover their ass, because if not, they're going to get sandwiched. So that's the logic behind the, or the madness behind the logic. Put it that way. All right, let me see. Let's go ahead and award the cube, and we'll be right back. All right, a little light on the subject. 1st Division, 3rd Corps, strategic move. There you go. A little bit of light off the subject. And we come back. I gotta figure out how to move them and where to. We know they're gonna come up somewhere around here on the southern edge of the map board. Alright then, 1st Division, 3rd Corps. Oh, deployed. I believe this is them all through here. It's the furthest we got. The first activation out of red activation die. So there's their first activation. And then we will commence with the next cube pull. But yeah, we got them on the board. All reinforcements on the board from our 2nd hour. Russians get reinforcements, but it's only the Prussians, and they're retreating from getting their ass beat. As a matter of fact, I think the 2nd Division, or the 3rd Corps, everybody in the 3rd Corps, hold on a second here, let me zoom in. All these 3rd Corps units here are from who was retreating from the main Russian force to begin with. And Napoleon ordered them to withdraw. So after his forces came and engaged, they're circling back up. And they are now coming back in to get a little bit of payback. But Bennigsen was ready for him and wisely deployed his cavalry. So we had turned our flank up and put some pressure on it. There you go, ready for our next cube draw. And it should be a French onslaught, but if it's a Russian cube, it'd be disastrous almost for the French. We'll have to see. We got 2 fire cubes. French ain't ready for the fire cubes either. So let's see what goes on here. We got them all down in there. Go around, pick one here. We got one. All right, who would it be? Red, green, or blue? All right, well, that'll be their 2nd one. That's law of averages coming through. And because if Russians only got 1 cube in there, there's like 2 fire cubes and like 6 blue cubes or 7. Keller, we'll decide what we're going to do. But, you know, old Napoleon, he might have stumbled, but he's ready to get it all back. So he'll be able to activate another division. We're back. All right, after looking at the whole situation, the decisions have been made. And the courier will go to all right, technical difficulties. Gotta get my pauses right. You kind of get a grasp on, you know, the distance, what they all got to go through in a matter of minutes. So, and then you got enemy lines here you got to avoid. But where be he stopping at? All right, and Laval, 2nd Division, 4th Corps. Gonna get their act together and try to sweep or take care of the remnants of the Markov division that are still in. Let's see if we can try that one again. I guess it's the SCH Slodenton. The battle for Slodenton is about to begin. And the cube will go to 2nd Division, 4th Corps. And their attack order. Back. Right then, the Val has a plan. He has a plan. And he has war gamed the war game. And he has a plan of attack. Key thing to do here is to get as many modifiers as we can because these old boys are in what's called an obstructed hex. More specifically, amongst the buildings. So a lot of melee, hand-to-hand combat. With them having a defensive advantage. So, got to get multiple hexes if we can. At least one of them to flee, and we'll take our chance on a stand check. So I don't know if this one can be attacked. We'll definitely be going with this one and all the rest of the Laval's 2nd Division. Just want to get their act together, get things going on, maybe move these units around here and get a line formed. If we get another cube, it might be a 3rd Division. Getting their line formed too and get ready for some of that red fire cube or assaults or something. But yeah, we want to straighten up the mess that's left over from us tearing up the Markov division and get a little bit of order going on through here. And if we can, a little ass whooping inside of the town. We'll be back. All right, before we move, we just want to make note that it is their 2nd in activation. Therefore, they will be everybody with a -1. Movement point penalty. 2nd Division, 4th Corps has no cavalry. That cavalry you see there is part of the Cavalry Reserve, 4th Corps, and they have all been moved. So they will not be moving no more this hour. Either will any of the Russian 7th Division. They're had it, and have done all their movement for the combat for the rest of this hour. All right, we'll be back. I'll show you the straightened out and attack mode 2nd Division. We'll be back. Alright, post movement 2nd Division, 4th Corps. Got some explorers down here. Line formation. Ready for whoever gets froggy wants to get in front of them. And this here spot here, this unit here will be assaulting this unit. We couldn't get, we don't have enough movement points to get in the column. So we're going to have to just rely on our pure numbers to assault. So it'll be an assault going here to here, an assault going from this hex to this hex, from this hex to this hex. So there'll only be 3 battalions involved. 1, 2, 3. The rest of them just moved in position this unit here and didn't have enough to get there. So got our line formed and ready to go, and maybe with a little bit of assaults added into it. Now this unit here bails. This unit have to make a stand check, and he's got all kinds of modifiers that give him the incentive to have an urgent appointment elsewhere. I think is the way we'll put it. All right, that'll be it for now. We gotta take the little wife out to dinner. Some other stuff. I'm gonna look over the board. Sit down here for a few minutes. That's what you don't see. I only record when I move, but yeah, we go through all kinds of stuff. Just enjoying the game. We'll be back. Alright, tally stick is zeroed and ready to go for our first assault in all of our cumulative modifiers. We're going with this assault here first, although this here will be our main event. We'll see if we can get this boy out of the way right now. So we have 10 factors, which are actually, we'll get their actual strikes here. And when they're unmasked, their actual strength is 6-3, so it'll be a 2-to-1 assault to begin with, resulting in our first modifier. And we'll look underneath the infantry assaulting. So we'll start off with a -1 for our odds die roll modifier. Alright, and the defending unit is a Russian unit, resulting in a +1. Then we come to one that has been hammering Markov's troops this whole battle, and that's he is under strategic move order. Gives him a -2. Alright, the next one's a modifier for being charged to the flank, which they currently are. But the Russians get one free pivot, so that modifier being easily negated by a little pivot facing our attacker. Alright, well then the French will suffer a penalty because of their formation, and they get a negative modifier because they are infantry in column. Infantry in line. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We were right the first time. Infantry in column assaulted by infantry in line. So that gives the Russians a +1. Alright, well the next one is strength points lost from defensive fire. So we will get a chance to fire upon our attacker. However, in column, you get a maximum of 2 strength points. So you get a limited fire when you're in column. So the strength points will be ×1. Ooh, we're looking at this. Let me see here. So it'll only be 2 strength points is the maximum you can have when you're in column. ×1 is 2. Now for this fire combat, though, they will get 1 for defensive fire. If I can find, there you go. For defensive fire, so we'll be rolling with a +1 under the 2 column. And we need an 11 with a +1 on this roll. 11 +1. That'll be a 9. That will not make it, so no strength points lost. They will not get that modifier. Let me switch things around. Alright, then looking further on down there is our one or more cavalry at a short distance adjacent. It's not cavalry, we're assaulting with infantry, so that'll take care of the die roll modifiers. Looking down here at the tally stick, we're going to be rolling with a -1 die roll modifier. -1, and we need a 7 or less. Let me get you on the zoom here. Back to the battle that features this unit against this unit. Rolling the French die with a -1, looking for 7 or less. We need a low roll. French looking for a low roll, -1. Ooh, 7 or less. They got a 6. I think they got it. There you go. Loses 1 strength point and retreats if assaulted by infantry. And it'll stop there, 6 hexes away, and switch back to line formation. Turn into a defensive position. So there you go. Now we come back here, and because they have bailed, we get to do a advancement and then a stand check. We'll be back. Alright, we'll do a stand check for the Grenadiers. +1 for home cooking, being Russian. Adjacent to a hex or a unit retreats, it's a -1. It puts us at 0. But they suffer 1 because it's infantry, artillery, and a non-obstructed hex within 3 hexes of enemy cavalry. So it will be a -2 total because of the close proximity of the French cavalry. How much is it within 3 hexes? We better count that out. 1, 2, 3, yeah, within 3 hexes. So they know the cavalry's coming about. And that is adding to their, adding to their anticipation. No, I don't think that'd be the right word. Word's coming to me, but anyway. We went in a boogie long, in other words. So -2 on this roll, and they need a, when the modified roll is smaller than 6. Take a strength point loss and a retreat. -2. Again with the white Russian dice because the game did not give me dice. I was shorted all kinds of content. So here you go, -2, looking for a low roll if you're a Russian fan, or French fan. A high roll if you're a Russian fan. Ooh, -2. 8. So it'll be an 8, so they will pass the test. Yep. Under 6, so they stand firm. We did not get the result we wanted from that one. But still, our main event is right here. And that was the 7th Division. We had one of their units bail. Another one stood firm, so the Grenadiers came through. Next, we'll go for an attack here. It'll be this unit here. All units that are here, it looks like there's 2 units. And this unit here attacking the line infantry amongst the buildings. So we're outside of town trying to break on through. This will be a key melee. And again, if we can get these boys to run, there'll be a stand check on these. These guys saying, ooh, how many units, how many men were there? Yeah, they watched 200 men just flee from them. The unit was right here, hit retreat 6 hexes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they just watched 200 men run past them, but they still held firm. And again, we didn't get to use our new retreat die rolls because we did not come adjacent to a French unit when we retreated. So there you go. All right, we come back. It'll be the next assault. This unit here being assaulted from here, their front and their rear. We'll be back. All right, before we get into this assault amongst the buildings, it's being led by the 2nd Division leader, Laval. He's throwing in his leadership as a motivator, but they're getting hit by 2 different hexes. Also, if we can somehow dislodge this unit and get lucky enough to have this unit flee too, I don't think he will because he's in the safety of the buildings. That's a big morale boost. But you can see that would free up a lot of French units, so it's kind of totally advantageous if we can get these remnants of the Markov division. And Markov's heading out himself. He got his ass beat and he's heading out that way, but that's where he was left when time was up. There you go. All right, and another thing here, when you see 2 of these markers, that means there's 2 headquarters there. The 4th Corps headquarters and the 3rd Division 4th Corps headquarters. There'll be 2 leaders there. If you ever see those markers doubled up like that. We have it over here. We have the Emperor Napoleon, the leader, Cavalry Reserve leader, and the 2nd Cuirassier Division heavy cavalry leader. So we have 3 leaders in this hex here. So that is what that all means. If you ever see all that, I think there were the only 2 cases, but there you go. All right, we're going to carry on now. First thing that's going to happen, though, is these little boys here won't get the advantage of mass fire of their muskets. I don't know if they got any rifled guns, but they will be amongst the buildings, and their defensive fire, they're going to get to shoot because these 2 hexes are their front hexes. Anybody comes in, they'll be able to fire at them, so they're going to defensive fire against this stack first. But instead of having 7 strength points, or whatever they're allowed in line, they're amongst the buildings and they're just taking pock shots. And when you do that, you only get 2 strength points. So it'll be a maximum of 2 strength points with a +1 for defensive fire. So we'll be rolling underneath the 2, and it looks like we need an 11 or more with a +1 to take out the charging units. +1 on this Russian die roll for defensive fire. Oh, that ain't gonna do nothing. He came up short. So, therefore, it'll be time for the attack. There you go. We'll add up the strength points of this unit and this unit. He's being hammered from 2 hexes. 1100 plus 1000. Each strength point represents 80 to 100 men. Plus another 900. Alright, approximately 3,000 men coming in from both sides, attacking approximately 700 amongst the buildings. Well, we'll get a 30 versus 7. That'll be a 4 to 1 or more. So 7 times 4 is 28. So under the infantry assaulting on our tally stick, and we're going to need it on this one. We'll start off with a -3. Russians get 1 back for being amongst the locals. French get a big 1 back catching the Russians in a strategic move order. -2 on a tally stick. Being charged for more than one hex. 1, 2. Another -1. Resulting in a -5 so far. Pro-French. Alright, well the Russians get some back because they are amongst the buildings, so they'll get a +2. Putting us back at -3. Now we have this one here where they are going to get charged from there, so it's a -2. I scratched that out and added my own, thinking I knew more than them, but the more I think about it, I think they're right. So we'll give the French another -2 from charging through the rear, as they are in this hex here, going into this hex. That is a -2. Putting the French up to a big fat -5 again. Alright, that'll take care of the defending unit. You come down here and look at the charging units. I don't see anything. More tired, exclusively charging uphill, downhill. We're not in an obstructed hex, they are, but we do have a leader present, so we'll get a minus his ranking. And that's the number on the left there for Laval, so we get another -2. Bad news for the Russians with a -7 on this roll, and we need a 7 or less to get them to bail. So it should be a gimme unless we get snake eyes. We've done that. You've seen that happen in this game. Although I think it was the Russians that got the snake eyes. Alright, -7 for a French roll. Trying to dislodge some Russian. Ooh, are they Polish? Line infantry from the town. -7. And when it's all said and done. And that'll be, yeah, they're gone. And that's mostly from an odds perspective. So, the assaulted charge unit choose 1 strength point and retreat. Okay, we have to retreat 4. So there is 1. We're going to incorporate our new rule. They're next to a French unit. So you have to roll 1 die. So you put Russian die. And they get 4 save numbers. So we'll have to pick 2 numbers that'll get us. So our 4 save numbers, we'll have 2 numbers that we'll exclude. We'll exclude a 1 or 2. So any numbers besides 1 or 2. How are we going to do this? I think we did it 50-50. Didn't we do it? No. We gave them 2 numbers. Or was it 3? Let me check this out here real quick. Hold on. All right, they get 2 numbers. That'll be their save numbers, I think is what we came to the conclusion of. So, by the rules of the game, anytime you get close to or adjacent to a enemy unit while retreating, you lose 100 men. The Russian will get a chance to pick 2 numbers out of the 6 as his save numbers. So we're going to pick, what do we feel lucky for? We feel lucky with the 3 and a 4. 3 and a 4. So if I roll a 3 and a 4, I'm coming through that hex unscathed, looking for a 3 and a 4 as the Russians. Oops. Oh, he didn't want to do that. All right, try number 2, 3 or 4. 6, so he does lose 100 men. And let me see where we're at here. That was 1. We have 2 more spots we have to retreat to. Let me press stop and see where we're going. All right, then I believe that is 2 of 4. No, that's just 1. He was right here. So it has to go 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. If we get to that hex, that is free of. We can't end adjacent. If we end adjacent, we'll have to go more than that. So we could do it that way. But on our second hex of 4 retreated, we're going to be adjacent to another French unit, the same French unit, but he gets a chance to take another pock shot. So this time I think we get to pick 2 save numbers. We'll pick a 1 and a 5. If we roll a 1 or 5, We don't lose 100 men. We come through unscathed, looking for a 1 or 5. 5. All right, so lucky for the Russian. He won't lose none then. So that's 2 of his units. So he done ran past his comrades here. Come outside of town. I believe he's outside of town now. So that's 1, 2. He's got 2 more hexes to go. And moving to his 3rd hex, he is still adjacent. So we'll need 2 more numbers to come unscathed. This time I'm feeling like a 6 and a 4. 6 and a 4. We don't lose any units. Oh, missed that one. So therefore, it's a 400 men. And to their final hex, which will be right there. Alright, let me look everything over. I'll get everything straightened out when we come back. They just had a bunch of men go on through them and run out of town. Alright, also we need to advance old Laval and his men. There you go. Like I said, let me get all this straightened out, all these markers, and we'll be back with a cleaned up version and make a stand check. See if our plan can come through and the complete wipeout of the Markov division. We'll be right back. Alright then, 2nd Division, 4th Corps having quite the activation. They're 2nd. We'll roll now for the last remaining Markov unit inside the town. See if they flee. If they do, yeah, it'll be a total wipeout of Markov, who came out of here in the beginning of the game to take positions through here, but through the initiative advantage of the French, we were able to get them surrounded and hammer and anvil his ass. There you go. We'll go ahead and check that stand out, and then we'll call it a video before we do any more cube draws. But let's get down to the final actions of the 2nd hour of the Battle of Eylau. We're back. Alright, lone Russian unit left in town, rolling with a -1 modifier. Needs a 6 or greater to stay put with a -1. And the modifiers will be, he's Russian. So that's a +1 in his favor. But he was adjacent to a unit that retreated. So that's -1. That makes it back to 0. Now, if the unit he was next to was eliminated, it'd be a -2. But as it is, it's -1. And so it's -0 after his +1 for being Russian. But then we go down to the infantry, and then, oh, hold on, he won't get that one. In a non-obstructed hex, he's within an obstructed hex, so it's a 0 modifier. My mistake. I was giving him a -2 for being within 3 hexes of an enemy cavalry, which he is, but it's only if he's in a non-obstructed hex, and being within those buildings gives him a little sense of safety, I guess is what it is, because that being next to cavalry hammered his comrades. Alright, so he needs a 6 or greater, non-modified to stay put. High roll for Russians. Oh, no way. Unmodified 4. He gets the heck out of there. Total victory for the French. And it's the wipeout complete, or makes the wipeout complete of the Markov division. All right, well, he loses 1 strength point. Alright, we also have to get out of there going 4 hexes. We find out the best route, but his first hex, he's got to roll. He's got a couple hexes he's got to roll through. Let's see which way we want him to go. I believe it's got to be a 1, 2, 3, 4. And in 2 of those hexes we'll have to roll, so therefore, I believe my 2 save numbers for the Russians will be, I'm feeling I want to save with a 3 or a 5. 3 or 5, and I don't suffer no casualties. I make it through relatively unmolested with a 3 or a 5. Oh, it don't like them rolls. Hold on a second. That one back there might be a while. Alright, 3 or 5 to go through unmolested. Oh, and they do. So therefore, another set of numbers. All right, my two saved numbers now I want to be 4 and 1. If we get a 4 and 1, we can go to that hex unmolested. No good, so he suffers. And he has 2 more hexes to retreat. I believe we'll stop there and face that way. Let me get this all straightened out. We'll be right back. Alright, with that, then the French totally clear out the town. And Markov's units are all back here. Got some kind of a line forming, some kind of organization, but other than that, they got units behind them and everything else. So here's some more remnants of Markov, but yeah, Markov in here with the old J defense. They're gone, fleed. French have made a total destruction. Markov suffered total defeat. 7th Division trying to clean up what's left, but 2nd Division ready to pretty well able to straighten up and get into some good order. It was a great activation by the French. Yeah, they got it back and then some from their last activation of the 7th Division. Right there you go. We'll call that a video. We got more cubes to draw, and then we'll say this is definitely drawn to a close because I think that's the 2nd cube draw by the French. So they got 1 more. Then it'll go automatic to the Russians, and then it'll be the end of the hour. If that's the way it goes, you never know. We could draw a fire cube. Calling it a video, having a great time. Going back and forth. Like the mechanics of the game. It's really working out to an interesting battle. We'll be back.